As you said, that cabinet meeting is going on there. In fact, more details coming in now. The cabinet has cleared the Lokpal bill. It's going to be tabled in Parliament on December 22nd. More details coming from our National Bureau Chief, Bhupinder Chaubey. Bhupen, it seems as if the cabinet has now decided to go ahead with the Lokpal bill. Any surprises in its contents?
Well, if you call it a surprise, the government's move rather belatedly to decide that Anna Hazare's main demand of keeping the CBI under Lokpal's control not going to be adhered to, if you call that a surprise, well, to many of us, just the fact that the government has been so bent, it has bent literally on its knees before Anna Hazare in the past, it did come across as a bit of a surprise that the government now wants to perhaps have another round with Anna Hazare. But two things which are now quite clear. On Thursday, this bill is going to be tabled in Parliament. That's day after tomorrow. That's the 22nd. Technically speaking, that was the last day of Parliament. But is it really going to be the last day or not? Pallavi Ghosh, my colleague, is also with me. Pallavi, first things first, this cabinet meeting has gotten over. What happens from here on? Is it certain now that Parliament will meet on the 27th, 28th, or 29th?
Well, the information which is coming out is, first of all, there is going to be a Business Advisory Committee meeting tomorrow morning at 10:30, likely to revoke the earlier decision of extension of the winter session of Parliament. We've of course been told by cabinet sources that the bill is likely to be tabled in Lok Sabha on Thursday. That's the day after, because they need a mandatory 24 hours waiting period. But what really does is interesting is the fact that inside the cabinet meeting it was decided that the CBI will not be brought under Lokpal. So the government in that sense has decided to take a tough stand. They're also willing to take this huge risk by taking on Team Anna. Okay. Very briefly, of course, there will be no prosecution powers which will be given to Lokpal except in those cases of corruption which have been referred to.
I want to just look at those points one by one, Pallavi. Let's just deal with the CBI first, because CBI was turning out to be the most contentious issue as far as this Lokpal is concerned. What we are now picking up is that it is now almost certain that the government is unwilling to tinker with the existing mechanism of the CBI. The only point they're making is that the Lokpal can have its own prosecution wing, but it's not going to have its investigating wing. They're saying even if Lokpal has powers to inquire, that inquiry should not be necessarily interpreted as an investigation.
That's been a part of the standing committee report, and that essentially has been a part of the entire 3 drafts which were also discussed yesterday. There was a strong feeling within the government. In fact, there was a note by the DOPT which was offered to the 4 top ministers, and there's a huge resistance coming in from the DOPT apart from the CBI that why will you go around trimming the powers of the CBI, and that's the reason the main prosecuting powers of the CBI has been kept intact. Only cases of corruption referred by the Lokpal to the CBI will be referred back to the Lokpal. So right. Lokpal is not going to be completely supreme in that sense, very much subservient to the CBI in that context.
Bhupen, what happens in Parliament on Thursday? The BJP today saying that if the dissent note, the points aren't incorporated in the new Lokpal draft, they will be moving amendments on the floor of the House. Is it going to end with just that, the BJP and the opposition moving amendments to the Lokpal draft, or is the opposition going to team up, for instance, with Anna Hazare?
Well, remember, Smita, what will happen on Thursday is that it will have to be a new bill that will be tabled. There are over 60 amendments which are going to be made in the existing draft that was prepared. The BJP's point is simple. The BJP believes that if the government cannot work out a completely autonomous structure for the CBI, then the BJP will be moving in for amendments. Does that then mean, I want to quickly ask Pallavi one question. Does that then mean, Pallavi, is this bill really going to be passed in this session or not?
Well, that's essentially what the government will want to do, but if they've decided not to extend this session to December, then which means it's essentially only Lok Sabha what they're looking at. And in terms of perception, in terms of the message which the government wants to send out is that in Lok Sabha we have the numbers, we're going to get the bill passed in Lok Sabha. Perhaps they're going to call an extra day or 2 in January after the Christmas and the New Year holidays are over.
Well, lots of political uncertainty there. It may be festive season in the rest of the country, but as far as politicians are concerned, there is certainly no festivity here.
Right, and Bhupen, certainly the government's smaller move saying that the CBI chief will be chosen by the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India, also saying there'll be up to 50% reservations in that selection of the Lokpal. Are those essentially ways the government is trying to ensure that it's able to clear this draft of the bill?
Well, the government believes that it has done what it could have done. As far as the question of appointment of the CBI director is concerned, this has been a bone of contention right from the beginning, where Anna Hazare and his teammates were saying that it should be done directly by the Lokpal. Why should the CBI director be appointed by political representatives? But now, as we have seen, the government has made this provision in the draft that it will be a committee of the Prime Minister, the leader of opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. Is the government convinced, Pallavi, that they will manage to to silence Anna Hazare with this draft that they have worked out?
One of the main reasons for the delay was the fact that the government was deciding whether really they should and they can take on Team Anna. At the end of the day, it's just political interest, a political vested interest, and the political turning victory points which has compelled the government to finally take on Team Anna, and that's the reason why the CBI is certainly not going to be coming under Lokpal. No trimming of the powers of the CBI. The autonomy of the CBI is still not assured. They've not bent either to the opposition nor to Team Anna. I think the government has decided they're going to take on Team Anna, and also hoping that at the end of the day is the political parties with their political interest in keeping a CBI under their control, which perhaps would help the government get its point across.
Well, that's the point that we have been looking at very, very closely. The likes of Lalu Prasad, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Mayawati, it's all very well for these leaders to send their representatives, to some of these leaders at least, to send the representatives to share the dais with Anna Hazare at Jantar Mantar. But when it comes to them actually taking a position, let the CBI be completely autonomous. Well, Uttar Pradesh is an election-bound state. What happens to the likes of Mayawati and Mulayam Singh Yadav, both of whom have disproportionate assets cases pending against themselves for a very, very long time?
All right, Bhupinder Chaubey, Pallavi Ghosh reporting on that developing story from outside Parliament. Thanks very much.